Some units you just can't get enough of. Doomwheels are absolutely one of those, although per tournament rules you can only bring 2 in a given build. Dov here, and we've got a replay from Get Up Mule. This is actually a build that he tried to show off on stream. He said previously in the past he's had a ton of success with it. The stream was a little bit more of a mixed result, I have to say, but here we're going to watch it in action against Flying Tacos, Warriors of Chaos. So what is it? Well, it's kiting Doomwheels. Something to consider about Doomwheels, and in particular the Regiment of Renown, plus Ikit Claw both, is that they do a decent amount of missile damage, especially these two, given that the Regiment of Renown has double shot, and Ikit Claw has triple shot of the base Doomwheel's missile attack. So the idea here is he's going to use them in tandem with Night Runners, Gunner Runners with Poison, some overlapping speed debuffs. He's got the Teeth Breakers as well, to that effect, Plague Priest, and a couple of Rat Ogres for some meat summons, some additional numbers, and some mass. So let's see how it does. Taco's rocking a Chaos Dragon Lord. He's got a whole bunch of Hounds, Marauders, Chariots. He's got some Chaos Armored Trolls, very nice, Forsaken, some Spawn in the back there, plenty of Marauders. Already a breath attack goes off, but gets somewhat interrupted, and unfortunately he doesn't get the full breath. Oh no, he does get the full breath there, but still doesn't do much damage at all to Ikit. And he's just going to be able to chill there, take that fireball damage. It'll do something, but all the meanwhile you can see that the Doomwheels are blasting, so we'll kind of stay in close here. Does a pretty solid amount of damage, and now Ikit can pop that Brass Orb, use the Bombardment. All of these are more or less ranged attacks when you really think about it. And now the, oh man, the Teeth Breakers are going to open up. They do get caught here, unfortunately, by the Chaos Sorcerer. He's going to give himself a nice little Cascading Fire Cloak for that Kindle Flame buff, a little bit more defense and armor-piercing damage. Howling Warp Gale freezes him in place, though, from Ikit Claw, and the rest of the forces continuing to kind of pull back here. Gunners with Poison, just consistently doing damage to the low-tier troops. Big Vanguard of Aspiring Champions there on the side. Fun stuff from Taco there. Aspiring Champions are okay in this matchup against some units, but they do kind of get torn apart a little bit. But the Doomwheels also provide a bit of terror and mass, right? And shock damage. So they can come in here and kind of side charge some of these units, disrupt their charges, keep them from really getting clean engagements, which is the biggest thing with this type of a build. Same thing with the Rat Ogres and the Plague Priest. Plague Priest coming forward, getting some nice summons here to help hold things up. And the Rat Ogres also, they are taking quite a bit of damage, but they did manage to rout off those Armored Trolls there. Spawn's also coming forward at this point. And let's check in on the Doomwheel ammo usage. Ikit still got plenty of ammo left. Wheels of Doom's probably maybe a third of its ammo used up so far. So just point blank blasting some of these champs. Champs are pretty slow, so they should be able to pull away, but might as well give them some nice cycle of charges in the meantime. And it's kind of like almost like a single model war wagon that you can't really direct the fire of, but it actually functions very well as an armor-piercing, terror-causing chariot. So really nothing like a war wagon at all, actually, other than the ranged attack. But Spawns will have some mass to be able to try and hold things up here. You can see the wheel immediately peeling out the other direction. Point blank blast, though, I think doesn't quite finish off a Spawn model, but does a bunch of damage there. And that's the other thing, too, is that the Doomwheel, no minimum range on it either. It will continue blasting even in melee, so that ammo usage will be pretty consistent. Both of them down to about half HP now, but a bunch of Rat Ogres over here. Probably going to go try reunify with them. Plenty of missile units left as well. A few more Rat Ogres coming back from route here, so looking pretty good so far. Warriors of Chaos still have plenty left on the field, though, and the Plague Priest is getting pretty low as a lot of damage has been focused here, appropriately enough. Another Breath Attack goes down. Furnace is able to somewhat dodge that. Another Plague Breath there as well, just roasting out some Marauders. Very nicely done. The Plague Priest is definitely having some issues. Another Brass Orb, though, to hold up the Marauders. And more blast and routes these Marauders here. Ikit comes in on his Doomwheel, trying to get rid of the Spawn. Ooh, that was a close hit. Almost got that Spawn. Or close miss, rather. Near miss. But a nice hit on that little blob of Marauders there. And really any units, ooh, blasting up in the air, especially to get that Sorcerer Lord. Very, very nicely done. It is unfortunate that you can't control the shots on the Doomwheel, but if you try and you have only one unit within the range, like for example this Dragon, you can sometimes sort of direct the fire to a degree. Ikit and the other Doomwheel kind of unifying here. We'll get in and just murder my frame rates with these blasts. Nice, oh yeah. Decent contact. Could have been a little bit better. Taco was able to somewhat dodge that, but that not Howling Warp, yeah, Warp Lightning even. Quite good at just dealing some consistent damage, and credit to Get-It-Mule, he's been able to keep Ikit, Claw, and the other Doomwheel mostly free of the spawn and not get too caught up, which is not the easiest thing to do. Monstrous Infantry are a decent counter for these, you know, single model type chariots. Consistent fireball's been blasting back and forth. But it looks like he's trying to finish off the Plague Priest. Unfortunately, just like goes directly through the arch there. But I think it might have actually done some damage. Yeah, look at this. This is what I'm talking about. If you can have just only the one target kind of in range, more likely that the Doomwheel will actually shoot that target, which is the one you want. So it gets kind of just hanging around at the edge of his range here. It actually shatters those Forsaken. And the next blast, that finish a spawn model? I don't think so. Doing some nice DPS though, just kind of dragging him out over time. And at this point, the Chaos Forces are pretty tattered. Balance of power still very close. That, oh man, again, just barely misses the Plague Priest. He's trying to like literally hit the Plague Priest off the top of the bell, which, you know, credit for the attempted headshot, but... Oh no, wait, that's the Greyseer that rides up on top. That's right, I forget. No, he's trying to hit like the actual ball itself. I don't know. Going for the headshot regardless. And it's unfortunately just not working out, but things are still pretty close. I mean, there's still plenty of Chaos units left. These Aspiring Champions holding up quite a bit of HP in the spawn are no joke, but the question is, can they finish in sustained combat? Now, finally, the Night Runners, Gutter Runners, and other units moving in the late game. The Marauders can't hold up their leadership, and a nice late game summon from the barely surviving Plague Priest will help hold up some extra numbers. Dragon Sorcerer drops down on the Wheel of Dooms. That's going to skedaddle on out of there and allow the Rat Ogres just to kind of keep things bogged up. While Ikit comes back, try and blast out the Champs. Champs stacked on top of Armored Chaos Trolls. Actually a pretty nice combo here with a few Spawn mixed in, fighting all the ugly Skaven. Just absolutely horrifying looking engagement. Oh man, Warhammer's awesome. If you guys are enjoying the series, by the way, a little late to remind you in the middle of the video, but hey, go ahead and drop a like if you feel so inclined. Greatly appreciate it. Helps the channel grow, helps get these unit highlights in front of more people. But man, oh man, Ikit is rolling deep at this point. Even charges in and routs off the Sorcerer Lord of Fire there, and with that, that is a pretty decisive blow. We're going to start to tip the balance of power pretty significantly in the favor of the Skaven here. They've used up all their ammo on the Gutter Runners and the Night Runners, so cost efficiency, you know, aside, it's hard to say. Gutter Runners just about got an XP Chevron. Definitely not as cost efficient as they used to be when their snare nets were more impactful. But in a build like this, certainly a very fun, kind of different build. Typically wouldn't see Doomwheels being used in such a fashion as kiting, but it actually worked out pretty well here, and Get-It-Mule had mentioned in some comments that this build is just, in general, worked pretty well, and I can see why for a few reasons. Number one is it kind of plays against what a lot of people would take against the typical, you know, Skaven defensive, like, mortar formation, because it kind of plays off of you being less mobile. Although a lot of factions will have better mobility than the Skaven, they tend not to necessarily bring it in super high numbers because of some different units that the Skaven have access to. Even here, like Taco had, you know, plenty of Hounds and other kind of pseudo-mobile units, but no really super hard-hitting ones. I mean, the Chariots certainly hit hard, but Get-It-Mule did a good job focusing them on early on in the battle, like with the Teethbreakers and so on, so... yeah, honestly, very well played to both players. It was a pretty close game at the end of the day, and I like this build a lot from Get-It-Mule. The game, just a bit of a spoiler alert, if you guys do want to go watch it from my previous stream, it's up, and Get-It-Mule did run into some troubles against a very interesting Lizardman build. I believe Bob may have been tipped off about this particular build from Get-It-Mule, and he brought a Lizardman kind of counter build that you wouldn't normally take because it had two big monsters in Mazdamundi and the Dreadsaurian, and it ended up being a decent counter for this just because there was so much monster HP there. That build would obviously be super risky against a more traditional Skaven build, so it's a little bit of a mind game. Like, it's interesting to be able to have access to something like this as the Skaven, and if we were to ever get Wolf Rats, they would certainly synergize with something like this very well, I think. But yeah, very fun stuff. Great use of the Doom Wheels there. 89 kills for Ikit, 71 for the Wheels of Doom. and just doing some heavy lifting against Flying Taco's Chaos Force here. Good build from Taco, too. Pretty interesting. The champs are a bit of a fun pick, but the spawn's certainly very good in this matchup. The Chaos spawn, I think, are a little underrated. I have been saying them more now over the past few months, but you see the Beastman spawn pretty much all the time. Chaos spawn are a little bit more rare. I do plan a video about them relatively soon, but yeah, very fun stuff from Doomwheel. So just kind of finishing things up with the Doomwheel. Again, the missile damage is something that you should consider. Besides the fact that it's an armor-piercing, terror-causing single-model chariot, all of those things are pretty good. And it's not too expensive either. As far as terror units go, it's definitely one of the cheaper ones at 1150. Or sorry, 1450. Wow, 1150 would be very cheap. Yeah, 1450 is pretty solid. It's not too far up there. They are a little bit squishy. Definitely have to rely on that charge. Anti-infantry armor piercing. 100 armor is not too bad as well. And 72 speed is pretty good. One of the faster units, fastest units maybe, that Skaven currently has access to. And as such, it's pretty nice mobile support. But just notice the missile damage here. So basic, 2045 with 20 armor piercing explosive. And just very basic. But then you go up to the Regiment of Renown, and it's suddenly much more. 2045, 20 explosive, but 2 projectiles, right? Literally the same shot, but twice. Ikit, again, goes up to a 3rd projectile. Same thing, 2045 with 20 explosive, but 3 projectiles. So Ikit definitely has the best Doomwheel, and even just looking at the stats here, he does a little bit more damage, has a bit more HP. The Wheels of Doom, interestingly enough, a little bit better melee attack, and +5 melee defense is actually pretty solid. But obviously Ikit is a caster as well, so he can kind of support himself in that way. Death Frenzy, give him a bit more attack. Warp Lightning just to blow up blobs near him. Howling Warp Gale, great for controlling flying units. So yeah, any of the forms of Doomwheel are pretty solid, but especially Ikit and the Wheels of Doom, using them to try and take advantage of the extra missile damage. There is definitely something there. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.